Welcome to the Revenge Taken channel. I arrived home 15 minutes ago and was surprised that my wife, Molly, wasn't home yet. She'd often stayed late at work a few times a week, but usually she would still get home before me and have dinner ready by the time I walked through the door. I grabbed a beer and was about to call her about dinner plans when she beat me to it. My cell phone rang. "Hi, dear. Are you still at work?" "Yes, Jack, but we're leaving now. I have a surprise for you that I think you'll like, or at least I hope you will. I certainly will like it. We need to talk when I get home, so please be there and ready to chat when I arrive. I'll be home in 20 minutes. Should I start dinner or run out and buy something?" "No, Jack, we won't have time for that tonight. Maybe later. But Jack, just remember, I love you and only you, and I can't wait to see you." "I love you too, and I'll be waiting for you with open arms." 20 minutes later, my wife Molly entered, and I immediately noticed that she looked a bit disheveled. Her clothes were wrinkled, her stockings were gone, and her makeup and hair were a bit messy. "Wow, you must have had a tough day, Molly. You look a bit frazzled. What happened?" Molly quickly approached me, hugged me, and looking into my eyes, whispered, "Jack, you know how much I love you, and I know you love me and would do anything for me, right?" "Of course, Molly. Maybe I wouldn't kill for you, but I'd do almost everything else. So what happened? I can't wait to hear what kind of awkward situation you got yourself into this time." "Nothing like that, Jack. Just let me finish, and when I'm done, you can ask me questions. You know how you mostly let me make almost all of our decisions, and you're so kind and loving to me that you let me do almost anything I want. Well, over the past few weeks, I've been talking to my boss, Ralph, about our relationship, and he has some ideas that seem sensible to me. He made me read several stories about submissive men who enjoy when their women dominate, and how it really helps their relationships. I must admit, Jack, those stories were very erotic and really stirred my imagination. Molly, yes, I am kind to you and allow you to make your own decisions about matters that do not change our lives or are not critical. But if you remember, in matters such as which house we buy, which cars we purchase, how we invest our money, and major financial decisions, I am the one who decides. However, I do admit that I enjoy letting you make decisions about things that are important to you and make you happy, such as vacations, which movies to watch, which restaurant to go to, and even what clothes I should wear. But I don't think that makes me submissive. I just love you and want you to be happy. My dad told me that the secret to a happy and stress-free marriage is not to worry about the little things. Then he reminded me that almost everything is a little thing, and life should be lived as positively and happily as possible. Okay, Jack, but I still think my boss was right. When I compared you to him, he is assertive, powerful, and takes what he wants. People bow to his strong personality and do what he decides, not the other way around. He explained to me that he is an alpha male, dominant, and at the top of the hierarchy, whereas people like you, although loving and kind, are more beta males and enjoy being dominated and submitting. They might not know it yet, but they have that quality, and it's waiting to come out. Well, I think that's some third-rate pop psychology nonsense, and I completely disagree. But what are you getting at? When I said this, I saw a hint of guilt, and the confidence with which she was speaking began to fade a bit. "Jack, my boss told me he is going to dominate me and love me in a way I've never been loved before. He has a big dignity, and he brags about knowing how to use it. He's been making me feel it in his office for the past few weeks, and I have to admit, it's huge. I know it was wrong, and I probably crossed a line that a young married woman should avoid, but it really excited me. I've been fantasizing about him for the past few weeks, imagining him seducing me in the office. He explained to me that you might actually enjoy knowing I'm with him, that you being submissive might even want to watch, and even if not, we'll have the most incredible sex of our lives when I come back to you after having dirty sex with him." I looked at her, expecting some punchline, but suddenly realized she was serious and that she was telling me she had really felt him and who knows what else. What the hell, Molly? You must be joking. How could you think I would be okay with this? Jack, I know you love me, and I know you want me to be happy. I'm convinced that this will take our love and our sexual life to a completely new level. Molly, are you telling me that you had sex with your boss? What the hell were you thinking? Oh no, Jack, I would never cheat on you. You already did. You've had intimate conversations with Ralph, and you already told me that you've touched him. Did he have sex with you? She lowered her eyes, unable to look at me, and said, No, Jack, not yet. He did finger me in the car on the way here, and he's waiting in the driveway so we can talk about this. Then he plans to come up to our bedroom, and we're going to have sex. You can watch if you want. Ralph would like that. But if not, when we're done, you can come and get me and I'll have a treat for you, letting you do anything you've ever dreamed of. Are you kidding me? He's outside right now, and you believe his nonsense. The thought of being with you after you've been with him makes me want to vomit. And what now, Molly? Since I'm saying no and demanding that you send him away, well, don't let me hold you back. I see that you'll do this regardless of what I say. If not now, then soon, maybe even without telling me. Anyway, you've already cheated on me, so go upstairs and get ready. Her look, full of guilt and shock at my statement, made her pause, but then she turned to leave. On the stairs, she turned back and said, You'll see, Jack. It's going to be epic. Yes, Molly, it will be epic. You have the right to do this. After she went upstairs, I rummaged through her handbag and took her car keys, house keys, and phone. From her wallet, I took our joint credit card. Then I went to the kitchen and grabbed a kitchen towel from the linen drawer and some zip ties from the tool drawer. I also grabbed a very large carving knife and went outside to meet Ralph. Ralph was sitting in his car in the driver's seat, reading his phone. When I approached, he lowered the window and said, All right, little Jack, I suppose your wife told you. Don't worry, I'll still let her have sex with you, at least for now, until she is completely under my control. You'll enjoy. I didn't let him finish. I put my whole body into the angriest, most vicious left hook I could muster and punched him square in the nose. The satisfying crunch confirmed I'd done some damage. I handed him the kitchen towel and said, Here, you might need this, Ralphie. He quickly brought it to his nose, and as he did, I wrapped a zip tie around his left wrist, pulled it up, looped it around the headrest bar, and tightened it securely. Then I opened the car door and delivered another left hook, this time aiming for his supposed big size. He doubled over in the seat, curling up as much as he could with his left wrist tied to the headrest, grabbing the steering wheel with his right hand and screaming in pain. I immediately took the opportunity to zip tie his right hand to the steering wheel. I leaned into his face and said, So, the big, strong, dominant alpha male has issues with self-assertion. What a pathetic sack of crap. You've misjudged this situation as badly as possible, and you'll learn from your mistakes. Unfortunately for you, Molly is expecting something epic, so let's give it to her. I picked up a water hose that was lying in the grass. Attached to it was a steel spray nozzle, perfectly fitting for what I had in mind. I swung it and shattered the side window into a mass of shards, scattering them across the seat and floor of the car. Then I went to the front of the car and struck the windshield. Although I didn't manage to break it, I filled it with cracks and dents, as if the car had been hit by golf ball-sized hail. I smashed the headlights, too, which gave me immense satisfaction. Returning to the driver's window, I laughed and said, I think you might need to do some work on your car. Then I pulled the knife from my back pocket, leaned into the car, and pressed the blade to his neck. In my most menacing voice, I hissed, How many times have you slept with my wife, trying to convince her that I would let this happen? I saw the fear in his eyes as he stammered, Only twice in the last few weeks. It meant nothing. It was just sex for both her and me. Just let me go, and you'll never see me again." I looked at him as if he were some pathetic form of scum. "I'm not going to kill you, at least not right now. But if I hear anything from the police or if I have any other problems regarding our little conversation today, then I will come back to find you. If you go to the police, I will most likely go to jail. Maybe I'll get out on bail, maybe not. Maybe I'll serve some time, maybe not. Either way, at some point in your future, I will find you. Maybe in a parking lot on your way to your car, maybe in an elevator at work. I will find you, slit your throat, and spit in your face while I watch you die. It's your choice. This could be the last time you see me, or you can keep looking over your shoulder for the next week, month, or year until the time comes to end you." With those words, I leaned over him, stabbed the knife into the passenger seat, and said, "Your lover, Molly, will need this to free you. So you can get rid of her, or maybe she'll take you to the emergency room. Whatever, just make sure you get her out of my sight." I went into the house, and when Molly heard the front door close, she called from the bedroom, "Is that you, Ralph? Come and take me. Did you sort things out with Jack?" My first thought was, what an incredible fool. "Who is this woman?" I replied, "Molly, Ralph is in the car. He wants you to go out and talk to him. It seems he might have changed his mind." A minute later, Molly came downstairs dressed in the lingerie I had bought her, with a robe thrown on. "What happened, Jack? Did you reassure him that everything was okay?" "Molly, I assured him that his future depends on his actions. You should probably go out and talk to him." She looked at me in confusion and said, "Jack, please remember that I love you, and this will make us stronger." "Of course, Molly, I already feel stronger." She smiled and walked out the front door. I immediately locked it behind her. I went to the garage and pressed the button to open the garage door. As I headed upstairs, I heard her shouting, "What have you done, Jack? Come here." I ignored her words, went up to the bedroom, and pulled out one of our suitcases. I grabbed a good handful of clothes from her drawers, including lingerie, bras, and socks. I took some t-shirts, jeans, and sweaters from her closet and put them in the suitcase. Then I went to the bathroom and threw in as much of her makeup and other stuff as I could fit. I returned to the closet and grabbed a pair of her tennis shoes. I went to the guest bedroom at the front of the house, opened the window, and shouted, "Molly, over here. You might need this." I threw the suitcase onto the driveway. Some perfume bottles might have broken, but it didn't matter. Not my problem. Then I threw the tennis shoes, aiming for her head, but she managed to dodge. "Jack, please, what are you doing? I was sure this was what you wanted. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you angry or hurt you. I can't believe how cruel and vicious you were to Ralph. For God's sake, he's my boss. Please, Jack, let me in and we can discuss how to get through this." "Molly, I can't even begin to tell you how ridiculous you've sounded since you came home with your little scheme to turn me into your cuckold. I wonder if you've had a stroke, or if you're on drugs, or maybe I just never knew how shallow and pathetic you really are. Whatever the case, it doesn't matter right now. I want you to get the hell out of here. Take your lover to the hospital, but on the way, make sure to ask him what will happen if I hear even one word about today's events from the police or anyone else. I will pack the rest of your things in bags, and you can tell me where to leave them, but never dare to come back to this house again." With these words, I slammed the window shut, went downstairs, opened the front door, and threw her handbag at her head. This time, at least, I hit her in the chest before slamming the door shut. I couldn't resist adding, "Is that enough for you, Molly?" I locked the door and went to the kitchen to open my second beer of the day. I realized that I needed to talk to my lawyer immediately in case the police got involved. I also needed a recommendation for a good divorce attorney. I went to the front window and saw Ralph shouting and cursing at Molly as she cut the zip ties. She put her suitcase in the trunk. He got out, moved to the back seat, and lay down while she got into the car, crying and looking like she was in shock as she reversed and drove away from the driveway. As the adrenaline in my system subsided and I began to relax, I was utterly shocked by what had happened, by how my wife had gone so far off the rails. I was amazed and somewhat frightened by what I had done to her boss in a fit of rage. I had been too close to slitting his throat, and now I realized he simply wasn't worth it. I laughed when I thought about the crap he fed her, claiming he was an alpha and I was a beta. Being a nice, agreeable guy and letting my wife have the final say in making good decisions was out of love and a desire for a happy marriage, but she completely misunderstood my kindness. She thought I was a submissive beta who would let her cuckold me with a jerk like Ralph. Wow, I didn't see that coming at all. For the next few days, Molly stayed away from home. I kept getting calls from unknown mobile numbers, and I assumed it was Molly since I had confiscated her phone. Finally, she left a voicemail begging me to call her back at that number so we could discuss everything. I knew it was only a matter of time before I had to face her, and since the police hadn't shown up to arrest me, I thought I had dodged a bullet and now needed to finish this sordid business. I called Molly and told her to come over in an hour so we could talk. I hung up, finished packing everything in the house that I thought belonged to her, and sat on the porch waiting for her. Molly pulled up in her car, which she had obviously picked up from work. I didn't know if she had been staying with Ralph, her parents, friends, or in a motel, and I was somewhat surprised at myself for not really caring where she had been. She got out of the car and waved hesitantly before approaching and sitting next to me on the porch steps. Her face showed a range of emotions, including some fear, shame, guilt, and apprehension. Her face looked swollen and blotchy, indicating to me that she had been crying a lot and sleeping very little. She looked at me shyly. "Jack, I'm so sorry for what I did. I don't know how I let Ralph convince me to suggest that I have sex with him, assuming that you're submissive and would enjoy it. I've been reflecting on the past few weeks and can't understand how I fell for all that nonsense. I suppose it was his dominance and insistence on how it would be so good for us and how I would have the best sex of my life, both with him and with you after him. You must think I've gone crazy, and maybe I was for a while, but Jack, now I'm back, and I love you and want only you. I beg you to forgive me, and I promise to be the best wife you could ever have and spend my life making it up to you." "So, Molly, how was Ralph in bed? Did you have the fantastic moments you dreamed of? What did his massive tool stop? Jack, after that, I never touched him again, and he's so scared of what you said that he fired me and doesn't want to come near me. Besides, he spent 2 nights in the hospital after what you did to him. He made up a story about a robbery, and we both stuck to that story so you wouldn't get into trouble. Well, at least he did that right. What do you want, Molly?" "Jack, I want you. I want to come back home and be your wife for the rest of our lives. I want you to forgive me. I'll do anything to make it up to you. We can get through this and be better than ever. Jack, I've realized that you're the only one I could ever love, and I need you to forgive me. What do you say, Jack? Can I please come back home?" "Molly, I've thought a lot about this, and here is what I've decided. We were in love for 2 years and married for 3. Now, after just 5 years, you are obviously bored with our life, or at least our sex life, and you're looking for more. You might think you love me, and maybe you do, but I'm damn sure you don't respect me. You would never have thought of me as some submissive beta male who would willingly let you sleep with your boss and then clean up after him if you had any real idea of what love or respect is. Besides, Molly, you did cheat on me. Ralph said you had sex with him at least a few times over the past weeks while he was convincing you of this alpha-beta nonsense. Your lust outweighed the vows and promises you made to me, and that's after just 5 years. What will happen in 7, 10, 15, or 20 years? How many times will you get bored and break those vows? Jack, I will never do that to you again. You already did, Molly, so don't say never. No, I've thought a lot about this. We don't have kids, we don't have much savings, and our only real asset is the house, which has very little equity. I've decided, Molly, that the risk of staying with you is much greater than any benefit. I'm convinced it's only a matter of time before you justify another affair to yourself, and given the regrettable experience with Ralph, next time you'll just do it behind my back. I no longer trust you, and worse, I've lost respect for you. I can't be with someone who doesn't respect me and whom I no longer respect. Molly began to cry as I explained my decision, and now she was sobbing as I told her we were finished. Molly, we're getting a divorce. You'll keep your car, and I'll keep mine. We can split our savings and sell the house. We're both still young, and I hope to start over with someone who will love and respect me for who I am. I've already hired a divorce lawyer, so we can do this amicably, or you can hire your own lawyer. Now let's load your things into the car, and you can leave and love as many alpha males with big sizes as you wish. I'll start moving out next week, so we can put the house on the market. No, Jack, no. You have to forgive me. I need you. I love you. I really do respect you. It was just a mistake. I was drawn into it. You have to forgive me. Molly, I'm sorry, but I've said all I have to say. Now it's time to move on with our lives, and if our paths cross in the future, let's just be polite and say hello but keep walking. I hope you find what you need. With that, I started loading her things into the car. When we were done, I just looked at her, said goodbye, went into the house, and closed the door on our marriage. Thank you for listening. Until the end, see you in the next episode of Cheating Secrets. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Goodbye.